Welcome to Vermontitude, a collaborative effort between Great Eastern Radio, the Brattleboro Reformer, and BCTV to bring you the stories behind the stories on the topics you want to learn more about. Because there's always more, so there'll always be Vermontitude. Hosted by me, Peter Fish Case. Welcome to Vermontitude. New episodes drop every Tuesday and can be found by going to vermontitude.com, reformer.com, brattleboro.tv, and locally on Comcast Channel 1078. We come to you from our studios at the Innovation Box on Landmark Hill. I'm Peter Fish Case, and each week I cover the topics that are of concern to Windham County and the towns that reside within its borders. Today we are talking Juneteenth with Djeli. Welcome, sir.
Good morning.
All right. Let's get into this. So, full disclosure, till about a decade ago, I didn't know anything about Juneteenth. And in fact, when it first came onto my radar, felt like it was a made-up word. It's kind of a mishmash of this and that, and it. Like all of a sudden, here it is. Now, and it's not an all of a sudden thing, right? It's probably marks one of the darkest days in American history. But how come we're just finding out about it? Or maybe we're not. All of us are just finding out about it.
Well, it's funny because you say one of the darkest days. I think it's one of the brightest days. Juneteenth. And it is from the, if you would, Ebonics or African American word for June 19th. It was all crammed together to be Juneteenth. Was when the last enslaved folks were notified of their freedom in Galveston, Texas in 1865.
Right.
And that, to me, was the moment that the United States actually became free. So that's when they gained their independence.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. But we know it's marked with some bloodshed and some awfulness.
It is. And most of our history is.
Yeah. Fair.
So the reason why I say it's a bright day is because, like I say, when those last enslaved folks were freed, that's when America finally gained its independence. And that is, to me, Independence Day. Not July 4th, 1776.
But Juneteenth.
Juneteenth.
Okay. Now, what brought this thing kind of forward? What was the catalyst to all of a sudden, like me, who I consider myself a fairly educated person on these things, how come I didn't know about it until more in a public sphere until just like maybe a decade ago?
Well, I don't even have a clear answer for that because I didn't grow up with Juneteenth. I grew up, I'm brown skinned, grew up in South Jersey. It's not something that was on my awareness until I was an adult. And what I would say as a reason for that is there's a lot of history that was hidden or stashed in the dark recesses of places.
Right.
And things are coming to light. Just like we're learning a lot about situations like the Tulsa race massacres and Black Wall Street. These things were always there,
right? But
they've been pushed aside by a dominant narrative that is now being seen as something it's whitewashing, it's covering up, and we're exposing more of our history. And I believe that when we wake up to all of our history, then we all become free.
Okay, I mean that's a very fair point. So one of the things that you and I have kind of had this kind of a rolling conversation for a while now about this day and about putting together some sort of a community effort behind, I guess you could say the celebration, but it just seems, for me, it seems wrong to say celebration, but a gathering, a recognition of the day. And this is something you've been trying to kind of drive all by your lonesome.
Yes.
Could need a little help now.
I need help because it's not something that's done alone. And it's something I've been trying to drive. I have a support from some close friends, and I had hoped that this year would be the year. I've sat on this for many years trying to figure out how to be the uniter of a community to come together around this topic. And I realized I can't do it alone. And
it's a heavy lift.
Yeah. And it's not about, we're going to release all the hurt, shame, and fear that has come around the unknowing of this. we're going to step into a new space together. That's what the hope is, and that this gathering can be. It's a celebration of us.
Right. And when you say gathering, like there's not a formal like, hey, we're going to have a parade down Main Street, but it could be a parade down Main Street.
I am not limited to just my idea of what it can be.
Right.
I'm open to a lot of other voices in this process. And I would love to start with just coming together and nourishing each other. That nourishment could be our company. It could be food. It's a space where we can acknowledge each other in community, the folks that we don't normally gather with, in a way that supports our differences.
Now, do you have a vision of what you, Djeli, would like to see on a Juneteenth celebration? And again, it stands to mention that you're not necessarily targeting this Juneteenth coming up here in 2024. This is going to be more of I need to start it here in 2024 so that we can come together and have this really nice thing in 2025. But if you had all the horses pulling the cart and everything, what would it look like?
Well, I posed this question to my family because I didn't have a really clear picture of what it looked like. I just saw us coming together. And one of the teens in the household said, what we just need is a family cookout. And that to me felt so good.
Yeah.
I got spirit bumps, and I went, yeah, we need a cookout. We need to get people together, and that's the nourishment of our bodies with food, the nourishment of our spirits with company, and and to be able to talk with each other about nothingness and everythingness. And so it would be simple gathering in a space. I have many ideas, the Retreat Farm, Scott Farm. There's many places that would be great to gather, and and a farm is a nourishing place. So that's one of the things that I have in mind is a gathering at some place. It could be Susu Community Farm. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I mean, that's, it's not, it's doesn't overstep, feeds people, it brings people together. Nothing brings people together like food brings people together, man. You know, you've got some good food, some good conversation, some good things happening. So that's at its most simple form, there it is.
There it is. Yeah. And if you bring your instrument, we play a little music, we do a little singing together. There's no telling what would happen, what could come of that. And it's a great way to network. It's a great way and not networking with a purpose. Oh, we're going to do my business. We're going to network in ways that support each other as families, as individuals, folks who are out there who would like to be able to connect with other people and don't know how. This would be a great, if it's just one day that could last for more than one day, or a spirit that could just permeate through our community throughout the year from that Juneteenth idea.
All right. And it could be the opportunity to teach, I'm sure that what I know of it is what the television has told me, right? I've read into it a little bit more, so it might be an opportunity to kind of broaden what that day meant. And as you said, before we went on, I said, I don't feel right using the word celebration. And you kind of pushed back at that and said, no, it really is kind of a celebration.
Yeah, we gather to celebrate. And that celebration doesn't have to be fireworks. And it can be just sitting together across from people that we may not have even known that we had anything in common with. And maybe we've discovered we still don't have anything in common, but we're sitting there together.
Right.
That's the celebration.
All right. That's good. Now, so as this is your sort of Djeli coming out party for Juneteenth, and looking for people to weigh in and help and kind of form something over the course of the next year. So you've got maybe you do have that big cookout next June. That's kind of why we're here today.
That is why we're here today. It has to start somewhere, and I am grateful for you giving me the opportunity to broadcast this to our community, that this is where we start. This is how we get this thing going. And I hope that 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line, we can look back at this start and go, wow, from that little nugget, that little seed, we've grown this amazing community.
So in order for folks to kind of weigh in on it, I guess the easiest way to get a hold of you is your email.
Email's the easiest right now.
So it's I'll put this in the description in the link as well. But it's Djeli's Dream, and that's spell it DJELISDREAM @gmail.com. That's the best way to get a hold of you if you're interested in becoming part of this Juneteenth celebration and acknowledgement. That's the guy right there on your camera right now.
Yeah.
Djeli.
Putting myself out there to do this because I really feel it's important for us.
Yeah. And it like I said, this has been a conversation that Djeli and I have had over and over again. It's come and it's gone. And then Djeli reached out to me again, and I was like, fine, let's just do this. Mm-hmm. Let's get it started here.
And yes, and I also want to say with this call to action, there are many ways you can help. Sometimes it's just spreading the word. Sometimes it's pitching in with funds or even a location, helping to organize the organization. And there are so many different levels, from ally to advocate to accomplice, of how you can step in and be a part. And sometimes it's just encouragement, saying, keep going.
Yeah. All right. So it's Djeli's Dream @gmail.com. If you want to get a hold of this guy, that's Djeli, and he's going to put this thing forward, and we're going to see how we do over the course of the next year. So best of luck with it.
Thank you very much.
All right, man. Thanks for jumping on Vermontitude.
All righty.